This might be your last chance. To talk privately, at least.
If you don't know which one to ask, just pick the first one that comes to your brain.
Oh, that's easy enough. How much did Abigail mention of my...
Your patron?
Situation? Yeah, that, for lack of better terms.
Walter, I know of him.
Yeah.
I think she thinks on it. I'm not sure if he's ever stopped by. Can't imagine he would want to, but never know. I know of him, and I know of my brother-in-law.
That's such a weird concept. Sorry, it's high tiers of power, just still kind of clicking in my head. Yeah. It's a situation of like, it's not them that I'm thinking of. They have a certain mission for me, and I can work with them. I want to work with them. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
I don't need to spend much of my capabilities to detect there's still a flickering of infernal energy in you, and I do not refer to your heritage.
That's what I was concerned about, for lack of better terms.
Yeah, what did Rohan call it?
Don't say it. Don't. Looks at Race. Don't.
I don't know what Ruhan called it, but I would simply call it a failsafe. I've seen such before. Aye.
That makes sense. Don't fall through with the mission or abandon it, then.
Oh no, child. It can do that, I'm sure. But she like looks over at her basket, gets a jar of sugar and pours it out on the flat. Night, Kirsty's. Damn, so much for the reunion to the session. Set for next session. Sign.
At least you got the two that have like a hard cut off beforehand.
Fair enough.
Yeah, sorry, I just noticed when all left.
Yeah.
I was like, shit.
It's all good. It's all good.
I don't control the speed at which you guys ask questions.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a good night.
I will see you all later.
Before you go, is next week the one you're on holiday or the one after?
No, the week after. Next week, I actually don't know if I'm going to be around because I've been asked. I know I've been asked to socialise now that all the pubs are open, and that was the only day we could all agree on.
Fair enough.
So
you're so pitched.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'll just turn up at like 3 a.m. Like, hello, Archon, let's go, Feywells. Fuck yes, I'm gonna tell everybody my name. You know?
You just have a business card. You just spread out a bunch of business cards. Here you go. Here you go. There you go.
A business card will be safer. Are you kidding me?
Fair enough.
But yeah,
just let us. Do you have an idea of when you'll know, or?
Absolutely not. They've just sort of said.
Throw in the deep end.
Like, yeah, just Saturday evening, I think. We've not decided on a time yet, but I'll let you know when I do know.
So. Hi, my name is Business Card.
Definitely. Okay.
Nice
Talk to you all later.
Good night. Good night.
Bye.
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 Where's it's only 3 minutes in the recording. I'll just keep it there. So sugar.
Yeah. So she pours out a little pile of sugar on the table, and then closes it back up, puts it back or on the side next to the basket, and just does a flick, a wave, a circular swing of her hand. Her 2 fingers extended out, her thumb lifted up, just. And as she does so, like this sort of magic, this arcane, or rather divine sort of, it's a mix of multitude of colors. Like there's like a bright blue, a deep purple, a verdant green, some gold, mysticism just interwoven, just. And then you see the sugar begin bubbling.
Like it's caramel.
Which is an impressive thing. Seeing sand bubble happens for quicksand, which is pretty weird. It begins bubbling and then condensing until it takes a form which looks similar to you. It's like armored, it's horned, and has a bow and stuff like that. And then she just begins doing like almost like a marionette or a puppet master, like on strings. There's nothing in her hand, nothing like the actual thing that would hold the strings like a puppet would, but she just begins moving as if she does have one. You know, so sort of like do like the rock and roll sign, so like the pinky, the finger, index finger, and thumb. That's how you're supposed to hold it. Is to get better control of it. So something like that, and she begins like moving it,
around.
and it does stuff like it does like motions of movement, of firing a bow, da 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 da. Just begins becoming animated. And then it begins shifting, like shivering. And then a second form splits off away from it. Still the same sugar amount. Like, it doesn't grow or shrink. This little tiny sugar doll, which is a weird thing to say.
Just makes like a duplicate kind of thing?
Not a duplicate. It makes a second form.
Uh-huh.
This one is more akin to the figure of. It's a bit of a vague figure, and I think about, but like a hooded figure, a cloaked figure. So someone like what you saw before, or Thea.
Veiled figure.
No. This is a humanoid figure. The Veil Broker is not humanoid looking. Like, this thing has only 2 arms. The Veil Broker has like 12.
Intimidating.
So yeah. This figure, the second figure that has, spewed and spawned out, is doing its own thing. It's attacking, it's walking, it's moving. And then she just stops her hand, and the little sugar figures stop with it, and then she just snaps. And then you see the figure that represents you change. It gets charred. Like cooked sugar. Which is what I guess it is. And then she does like another swing with just her index finger, just whoosh. And then the little you, the sugar you, turns its bow and shoots the other one.
Ooh. Et tu, Brute.
And then, in like in Hal's Moving Castle, when Hal gets rid of the mark on the table during breakfast time, she just does that. She just sort of smears away the sugar, and you guys can hear it sizzling and going away as she gradually just sort of wipes it away. Just. Well, that's what I mean, child. You sold your soul and your name, technically. They've just yet to call it in.
Is there a way to...
Can such a thing be bought back?
Good. But that's a real question, isn't it? If they own you, what could you possibly offer them to buy it back that they just can't order you to give anyways? There must be some long-term endeavor that you're meant to follow through upon before such activation happens.
So what, if that happens, I'm just not me?
Aye. There are aspects of a creature. Mind, body, and soul. The body is obvious. But many people often misconstrue mind and soul. They blur the lines between them. I can speak with definitive authority. The mind and the soul are easy to blur because of, and she just taps the side of her temple, one's perceptions. Your soul is used to intrude yourself. Your essence. What makes you, you. But the mind can be toyed with, can be manipulated. One doesn't need to touch the soul to get you to do the wrong things. Merely your perception on reality. She gestures around. This place is evidence of such. But you'll understand that in due time.
Rose just looks like she's almost about to like just fucking vomit. just the continuous phrase of how does life just keep finding a way to get worse?
There's hope yet for you, though. In full truth, you still were bargained to Walter.
Yeah.
Heartlandic Kenamine. There is contention that could be made there. If they would bother to do so.
I think that'd be
But in order to do such
bother.
contentions on an elder scale, one would have to know the machinations of the broker in question. And then you have to find a third party to arbitrate the contentions and discussions and negotiations. An elder one. One that both parties trusted. A neutral party.
Any idea of anyone like that?
Yeah, you're sitting at the table.
Wow.
I don't think the veiled broker would particularly care for me and my husband and our family. Especially after our last family outing.
I don't need to know.
I'm not saying the veiled broker in question would be mad, but I don't think we would be particularly welcome in the Hills. Nonetheless,
Also,
there are
fairies
thoughts.
and Falter, that would be a hard sell to say the least.
Not particularly. The one who calls himself the Silverblood Hunter is brother-in-law of mine. Faye, my husband, may be. Celestial he is as well. So, in this household, there are no such disagreements. Besides, it'd be a waste of time for the hunter anyways. Why continuously beat your head against a rock, waiting for it to crack before your skull does, when you can just go find other things to attack? Softer things, easier things. Killing Cassavir, not that he'd be able to. Wouldn't do anything for the rest of the Feywild save for a massive power vacuum. Which, in honesty, would probably be even worse.
I mean,
no, the hunter knows his place.
Probably fine with it.
No, quite the opposite. It would just lead to a bolstering of it.
Interesting.
He is celestial. One of the few celestials in this land. In his absence, Faedom grows. But that's neither here nor there. If I were to honestly recommend you a point of advice, looking for other immortal creatures would be a good first start. Never trust a demon. Never. Only trust a devil when you've already rigged the hand in your favor and making sure that they haven't already done the same. Fairies are whimsical. Some could help you. But just be careful with the price they ask. And there are plenty of things that aren't any of these that are the same. Immortal. Elder. In technicality, I suppose they don't need to be immortal. They just need to be powerful.
They have to have influence.
On the other scale, aye. If it's a devil, you might try to consult a Freety. Although their sort is, I dare say, more mischievous than a lot of devils. But they'd definitely be a bit closer to home. And their mischievousness could be manipulated in your favor. I'm sure there's a number of fairies here which probably wouldn't mind. What were they
Any that
called?
you would trust with it?
None that I'd recommend for your particular situation. Me and my husband don't keep allies that deal in two aspects.
Valid.
But if you want to... What were they called? Ah. The Tribunal. The Nestle Gloom Tribunal. They deal in
Oh,
such.
damn.
That is some cosmic coincidence.
Nothing is coincidence, child. It's providence.
I don't know how they would feel about us, though.
They're a mercenary company.
Hmm.
Lawfully bound ones. Would Voltaire despise them? Certainly. Which would make the Veil Broker trust them. Would they like the Veil Broker? Likely not either. Which makes it fair for Voltaire. And you've already met one of them, eh? What was her name? Cavrada?
Ray is thinking better than her anyway.
And you kind of need an in anyways, and she is...
She's shown up here in the past. Doubt she'll visit anytime soon. She's always on some business trip or another. But there are more emissaries and ambassadors than just Cavrada. So, if you must. Personally, I would advocate trying to find people you know a bit more personally.
I think I know who to ask for direction, but... there's just a lot of buts. I just kind of react, just lean back, look up at the sky.
You lean back, strain your legs, because there's no backs to these stumps.
Yeah. I appreciate the help. It's more than what I could have ever thought of looking into. Gods.
Life never slows until you're dead. And even then, sometimes not.
Yeah.
There was also... Abigail mentioned that you and your husband intervened in the Night of Tempest to some degree?
She gets a knowing smirk. Aye.
Yeah.
What about it?
However, they reacted, from what I could tell, differently to you two.
What do you mean?
I mean, Garth can't remember things. Let's see. Not sure. It's a weird gut instinct kind of thing. Because like how the Scorn can interact with fairies in the past is, I guess, out of fear or along those lines.
Aye.
They don't like fear anything, from what I've been told at least.
They fear powerful fae.
Alright.
The mundane fae. Those decrepit and Fomorian pixies, woodwoads. They don't fear those. They fear the hunters. They fear the riders. The stalkers. There's
He will add
reason.
Reyes' name to that list in the end of things. He will make sure of this.
There's a reason, child, that the Silver Blood Hunters pack is here on this continent.
Hmm.
Hunters hunt. And honestly, I'm not terribly surprised that they would be afraid of my husband. He could put on a hellish mask if he so chooses.
Which is
If I
kind of
remember
ironic.
correctly, actually, she gets like a reminiscent bright smile. If I remember correctly, I think Varric was rather frightened of him when they first met.
I think it's understandable. In most cases, it's like meeting your significant other's parents is one thing. When it turns out the parents is like a step away from a god, I feel that's a different level.
What do you mean?
I don't know how to explain that, but anyways. What was I aiming at? It was a... I don't know. I was trying to think of like how to like, I guess manifest that. But also, if I tried that, I would probably get in a bad spot.
If you were to sell your soul a name again, then perhaps you could.
Haha, no.
Remember what I said, child, powerful Fae.
Hmm.
Keep in mind who Volter is and who he works for. You joining the Fae would be you asking for your own death.
Yeah.
I think you dance a fine line with Abigail and me and my husband.
He's made that apparent.
It is Fae they fear.
Hmm.
Proper Fae.
I don't know, I'm just trying to figure out how to like get an edge on them in some way.
If I know correctly, you have yet to encounter any Skorniken, according to
Yes.
Abigail's accounts. I recommend starting with that,
Yeah, Reyes can show you where they are. Usually.
Everyone,
Skorniken are adaptable, but their adaptive strength can also mean they adapt weaknesses in accordance. There is no one way of fighting Skorniken, besides being a Fae.
because everyone wants to like go on other missions, which I'm gonna help them. I'm gonna have people's backs. Next time we go for Skornkin stuff, I look at rates. We're going after Skornkin shit if we hear about it.
He nods. Yeah, little point in making a weapon if you're not gonna use it.
Hmm.
Anything else, children? I can hear my husband calling.
Yeah, you wouldn't know where one of the 5 things Reyes is meant to look for would be.
Your mythical weapon.
Yeah.
I'm afraid not, child. Sorry.
Hmm.
But I'm sure your ancestor, and she points at great-grandfather, will be pivotal. He's guided you well so far, eh? Family
Hmm.
always does.
Reyes will know when he sees it.
That's good. Anything else?
Reyes is content.
I'm
She looks
sorry,
at you.
was distracted there. No, I'm fine. Thanks for your time.
Very well.
though.
And
Of
the tea
course.
is delicious.
She gestures at Rose. I suppose you'd be taking her for this particular strain of tea, but I think I have some spare if you want to take some with you out into the wilds.
Actually, I would appreciate that.
That would be very nice.
Remind me, I forget so many things with so many things going on in my olden age. That's a weird thing. She says olden age. She doesn't
She
look
looks
any.
like 30 at oldest.
No.
What?
Like she says mother to Catalina and Abigail, more like sister in appearance.
I mean, to be fair, that is
Looking
it
that
kind of tracks
ageless
with
look.
phase. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you're gonna look resplendently beautiful, you wouldn't stop at 30 or 40 or 50 or 60. You would go back a bit
Just
to
kick it
the
in reverse,
physical
pause.
peak of the mortal body. Looks
I
at U.S.
mean-
military. Yeah, so if she says old, she does not look old.
Your magical makeup game is on point.
Oh, it's no makeup, child. It's quite real. Well, I don't need to entertain that sort of stuff with all of you. And besides, I'm sure your friends are waiting. Abigail and Verdic as well.
Hey.
So, let's be off. And she just snaps her fingers. Since you two are the ones that stuck around, you guys got a sneak peek as to where next session begins.
Haha.